Senator Gloria, I don't think your point of order is relevant here. Senator Osotsi has nothing to declare interest in his opinion. So I think we will move on. Next speaker is Senator Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to congratulate Senator Wahome Wamatinga, the Nyeri Senator, for always bringing issues on very serious motions. I know on a number of occasions that this is an important motion. So, Speaker, ordinarily, the House should be full because one way or another, you'll always interact with many Kenyans who have had their assets being repossessed but because of non-performing loans. So, Speaker, where the country is now economically is because we are in post-COVID recovery. I know many Kenyans, and even across the world, not only Kenya, during COVID period, many governments across the country, including Kenya, put in cautionary measures to cushion business people, business, and even they were being paid, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, therefore, the repossession of movable assets by lending institutions to the non-performing loans, and non-performing loans is where, Mr. Speaker, they are not able to pay. And you know, it's also like international. Kenya now is in the international, both internal and external debt, is standing at more than 10 trillion Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker, more than. And therefore, this public debt will continue becoming a problem. So imagine if the country was being auctioned because of non-payment of international debt, Mr. Speaker, or public debt. Why don't we use similar strategy? Because if Kenya cannot, for example, pay to the lenders that have lended this country for infrastructural projects, and even, Mr. Speaker, the declining rate of dollar also makes those loans that Kenya is being owed across the country becomes a challenge, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I think as a country, we use the way we negotiate with IMF, other lending institutions, countries like China, among others, Mr. Speaker. We should also use the same strategy. And I agree with Senator Wahome Wamatinga. As a parliament, we have a unique role to bring in policy and legislative intervention to have renegotiation of non-performing loans, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and therefore the non-performing loans in the last year, August 2022, Mr. Speaker, the non-performing loan was at 14%. In August this year, barely 1 year, the non-performing loans across the country has increased to 15%. So, Mr. Speaker, we must amend the Banking Act to give reprieve to many Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, because many Kenyans borrow to buy motorbikes, to buy small cars like Demio, Aris, and these small ones that they go to app like Bolt, like Uber, like many others, Little Cab Ride and Taxify. And you know, you remember in the last session, we really struggled because companies like Uber, among others, are domiciled in other countries. And you know, Mr. Speaker, I was discussing with some Uber fellows and Taxify, another app of cab across the city, that sometimes they have to switch off the app so that they can use the local rates because the domicile companies like Uber and others were not giving them good rates. So that is why sometimes you even get into an Uber, Taxify, Little Cab, all these small Ubers around in the country. Sometimes they have to switch off so that they can make money because the rates are being given. And that is why government should come in and cushion. Because these cars that they are driving, be it Demio and many other cars, Mr. Speaker, and even these small cars that are being used for Uber and others, Mr. Speaker, is cars that they must be given opportunity to pay their loans, Mr. Speaker. So I agree that we must renegotiate just the way the country negotiates to give reprieve, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and therefore the National Treasury should give us strategies to cushion Kenyans, and especially young people, Mr. Speaker. And even we must agree that we must be deliberate through affirmative action to give opportunity. Even we can propose that companies that are owned by young people, they should be given a certain reprieve period because of non-performing loans, Mr. Speaker, and many others. On the issue of motorbikes, border, Mr. Speaker, there is this company called Kenya Women. Mr. Speaker, you know where I come from is a village setup. just like Siaya, just like Vihiga. I know city senators like Senator Amida don't know these things. Our women go to Kenya Women or other lending institutions, Mr. Speaker. They borrow, they bring home. Because of non-entrepreneurship, they make sure that diet changes in that family. So as a husband, you know, that you start eating chapatis, you start eating nyama, very nice things, Mr. Speaker, they call chepe chepe, very nice, not knowing that is money from Kenya Women. The Speaker, the husband in Nisone, one morning you wake up, Kenya Women with administration police appear in your place. They take away your TV, you used to watch Cherargei and others, they have taken away, they take away the cupboards, they take away your very good cow, which was giving good liters of milk. They take away almost everything, even sofa sets, even your bed, Mr. Speaker, where you used to make babies. So at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, it is very, very sad, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to that. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Interior Ministry, Professor Kithure Kindiki should not allow administration police to be used for repossession of movable assets. By these sharks, Mr. Speaker, the Shylock sharks, they go and hire administration police and come, take your cow, take your sofa set, take your bed, take your TV sets, even your clothes and everything. So I saw a situation where, Mr. Speaker, the lending institution even went away with the roof, the mabati, Mr. Speaker, the roof. Mr. Speaker, we should not allow our police to be misused by these sharks because simply they have money. They just wake up one day, take your cow, and maybe that cow, Mr. Speaker, like Kenya Women, among others, they are busy repossessing, they are destroying marriages. Because by the time a wife goes and borrows a loan without the knowledge of the husband, in our villages, it kills that family. Because after they have repossessed, there is no option but the wife to run away because now the mzee or the husband is mad, Mr. Speaker. So we must call out. We must renegotiate. Non-performing loans is not only unique to hustlers or to ordinary Kenyans. It's also among Kenya as a government because it has international obligations to pay. So, Speaker, on the issue of motorbikes, I saw the other day, there was what we call mogo credit. The police tried to possess the motorbike in this city, I think it was last year or early this year, and the border guys dealt with the mogo credit and the police. That's why I'm saying the police should not be used. Under the Police Act, there is nowhere Senator Otsotsi or Mr. Speaker, sir, that says police officers, be it administration police or National Police Service or GSU, are supposed to be used to repossess any movable assets. We must start from there, Mr. Speaker, because it's non-performing. And I want to say, people like Watu Credit, I brought the statement in this house, Mr. Speaker. Watu Credit, when they realize you have almost paid up to 80%, they take away your motorbike. And some of these motorbikes, Mr. Speaker, are not even owned by the border riders, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as my brothers have said, motorbike is what has, and border sector has stabilized the economy of many young people. It has created opportunities for many young people, Mr. Speaker. Although there are many challenges where we are blaming borders, maybe because people sometimes say because of them is insecurity, but it is the most reliable form of transport. So, Speaker, if you were to come and preside over the session in the afternoon, maybe 2:30, and you are just flying in at JKI and there is heavy traffic, the only option is to hop into a border and you will be within 10-15 minutes, you are within the presence of us. We have been using border, Mr. Speaker. Even in the villages, it's deficient. Our roads are pathetic. You had me complaining over the weekend in Nandi. We have so many stalled road projects in Nandi. You had me speaking on Friday, Mr. Speaker, to be precise. The only place can be accessed in Nandi is through motorbikes because the roads are very pathetic, Mr. Speaker. And in some of these is the borders assist us in movement of economy, growth of economy, Mr. Speaker. Even, Mr. Speaker, where roads are not passable, borders are being used to transport even the sick people to rush them to hospital. And it has saved many lives, Mr. Speaker. There have even situations that their roads are not passable, Mr. Speaker, where they have even been used to carry coffins of the dead because the roads are not passable, Mr. Speaker. So people like Watu Credit, I think the government must crack down, Mr. Speaker, because these people time. Imagine, what reason do you have if out of 12 months, you only miss 1 month? And you go, and I've been discussing with these borders, they go and see this Watu credit or Platinum credit and tell them, Mr. Speaker, this man, I was sick. I was not able to go to work. These are treatment cheats. I went to the doctor. For this 1 month, I was sick. And you know, border people are exposed to cold. They get pneumonia. They become sick, Mr. Speaker. They go to this Watu credit, another Platinum credit, another lending consumer like Mago credit, and tell them, Mr. Speaker, I was sick in this month. Therefore, I cannot honor my loan. What is so hard for those people to understand? Does it mean they must be ruthless or heartless so that they make an devilish or an holistic profits by all extents, Mr. Speaker? So this Watu credit, the Platinum credit, the Mogo credit, Kenya women, among other these microfinance, Mr. Speaker, must be called out. And the only way to fix them, a silver bullet fixing them, Senator Uhuru ODINGA, is to bring an amendment to renegotiate non-performing loans, Mr. Speaker. Among the young people, Mr. Speaker, and I am happy Senator Uhuru ODINGA is here. I don't know whether he was in the King's State banquet. I didn't see him. But, Mr. Speaker, because the King is in around, and I know Senator Uhuru must be friends with the King. Okay, maybe I will ensure next time you are invited, Mr. Speaker, so that you can. I'm told Senator Uhuru might be knowing each other with King Charles III and Queen Camilla. Mr. Speaker, that is why I know even in Siaya, even in Vihiga, even in Nyeri, most young people, they have motorbikes are being repossessed. Mr. Speaker, it pains me to explain this, and Senator Utsosi has put it very well. These people time when you have 1 to 2 months before you clear. And by the way, Mr. Speaker, ordinarily, a new motorbike should not go beyond 80,000. Can you believe through Watu credit, Platinum credit, and other credit societies, you end up paying almost 300,000 for a motorbike that you can buy in cash at 80,000 shillings, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a pure rip-off. How can you take and pay more than 200%? A new motorbike cash 80,000 plus. You end up paying Watu credit or these other credits like Platinum, Mwago, and others, you end up paying over 300,000. What explanation? Which economy are we doing in this country? What are we supposed to be doing, Mr. Speaker? And these borders depend on that 50 shillings, 100 shillings, 200 shillings, Mr. Speaker. I am telling you, these credits, microfinance credit like Kenya women, like Watu credit, like Platinum, like another credits, it is a criminal, well-organized criminal enterprise. I don't fear to say this. Where they work in cahoots with some rogue police officers, with some OCSs and OCPD, and the National Police Service Commissioner, Mr. Speaker, and it is good you sit in National Security Committee. You must assist us in follow-up. There are certain OCSs and OCPD, and National Police Service Commission must be aware of this. They work in cahoots with these microfinance when they are going to repossess motorbikes and resell. In fact, when they repossess, they don't even tell you, come and pay. They repossess and go and dismantle into spare parts and sell it, Mr. Speaker. And the young man, the young woman has paid. Out of 10 months, he has paid 9 months. Mr. Speaker, we must protect Kenyans from this ruthlessness that we see. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, because I didn't want to speak a lot so that my colleagues can get a chance, I want to inform the House. There is what we call hustler fund. Let me put two things in straight, because I've had my colleagues misleading the House. When the president campaigned, he said, he did not say, and I want to put it correct, because some of us were part of the drafting of the manifesto and the plan. I know the manifesto like the back of my hand. He said he will remove Kenyans who are CRB then, so that they can start afresh. He did not say he is banning Kenyans from being taken to CRB. So let us get our facts right, and that is what we said, and it was done. Number two, we said to cushion Kenyans from these harsh economic times is to start what we call hustler fund, where young men and women and business people and cooperative society, women groups could go and borrow and start their businesses. And the Ministry of Cooperatives is doing very well. You saw even the indications, the indicators, Mr. And I want to correct this notion. The IMF, I have realized our brother senator from Vihiga is a good reader of the information, but he ensures that the information he gives is skewed. Kenya was ranked among the best countries by IMF, international monitoring, coming strongly economically in the nation, Mr. Speaker. So the issue of hustler fund, and I want to encourage the young people from Vihiga County, women from Vihiga County, and even from Siaya, to borrow the hustler fund. It is your money. Go and start businesses so that we can even from Nyeri, from Nandi, to borrow and start your business through the cooperative societies. Mr. Speaker, the hustler fund is the only fund that you don't need to know anybody. It is you and your phone. You don't need to have a godfather. You don't need to have a girlfriend. You don't need to have a husband or a wife, Mr. Speaker. You don't need to know anybody. You don't need to say, I know so and so that you can borrow from the hustler fund, Mr. Speaker. So I want to correct the misnomer that was being put in the House, Mr. Speaker. We must agree as a House that, Mr. Speaker, the hustler fund is going to be revolutionary. All Kenyans, all young people who are watching me, borrow from the hustler fund and your lives will be changed. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I agree with the prayers that we have set to review the Banking Act, to renegotiate non-performing loans, and provide cushions with Kenyans and prevent the loss of their movable assets. These assets that they have, let them protect. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the taxi drivers of Uber, Taxify, Bolt, the border sector, that Senate will stand with you to protect you from the sharks, from the Shylock, and other unholy microfinance institutions in this country, like Watu Credit, like Platnum Credit, like Kenya Women, among other lending institutions that continue to crash, Mr. Speaker. And I wish, in conclusion, with a lot of due respect, that we would have used the model way of the Islamic laws of banking. We would not be where we are. If we had proposed to use Islamic banks where there is zero interest rate, Mr. Speaker, then this country would not be where. I hope when we renegotiate, we must look at to borrow some from Islamic banking laws on how we can improve. Mr. Speaker, with so many remarks, congratulate Senator Waume Wamatinga. Wish him well. I want to see the legislative intervention when it comes to fruition. And I invite Senator Utsosi for lunch so that he can see and I can share with him how the economy is doing with the experts, so that when he appears before the floor of the House, he can be able to have a very interesting...
What is your point of order?
I finish, and I support.
What's your point of order, Senator Osotsi?
Mr. Speaker, you know I don't need any lectures from Senator Cherargei on the economy. We are feeling it. The economy is not working, and Kenyans are feeling it. So you don't need any lectures to know that the economy is not doing well.
I thought you had finished your, your remarks. It's not a point of order even. Senator Oginga.